Damien Williams. And if you're a fan of this podcast, if you watch any of our stuff, you know that Damien Williams is a guy we've raved about. He was up at 14 overall on my big board, a guy that scored 10 touchdowns in only 6 games. His per game pace of 22.2 fantasy points was behind only Todd Gurley last year as a starter. So this guy was insane. And yes, he's a pretty solid talent, but that's obviously more so a product of being in the biggest juggernaut offense in the league, the Chiefs, and just being in Andy Reid's kind of workhorse role where he peppers them with targets, he peppers them with carries, he loves and prefers one guy. So we were all about Damien Williams because entering the draft and everything, the GM said this is Damien Williams' job to lose, and he's our guy. So nobody was higher than us. We were about 40 spots higher on the ECR on Damien Williams than everybody else. And now I'm starting to question that because Carlos Hyde has been brought in. And I think a lot of people are not making nearly enough about this news as they should be because Carlos Hyde's a damn good back. And everyone's saying he's not a 3-down guy, he can't do it. Well, Carlos Hyde just 2 years ago, 2017, caught 59 passes on 88 targets under Shanahan when he was finally used as a receiver. So I don't think it's necessarily that the guy can't catch. It's just he's been underutilized outside that season. And he dominated as a pass catcher during that year. Got a lot of yards after the catch, trucked some people in the open field, was pretty dangerous. And Damien Williams himself was a guy who's already said, I couldn't catch back in the day. He couldn't catch screen passes. His high school coach made fun of him and said, I can't believe what I'm seeing out of you right now because you couldn't even turn around and catch a screen in high school. We couldn't even use you. We would have had a bunch more wins if we knew you could do stuff like that. So Williams talked about how he hit the jugs a lot while at Oklahoma, and then especially under Andy Reid, just practiced every single day outside of practice, doing a ton of that work that he needed to do. So they coached him up at Kansas City. They know how to squeeze the most out of their receiving backs. So who says Hyde can't take on to that coaching and suddenly take this role? I think he's a better runner overall, Hyde is, than Damien Williams. And with this line, with this overall offense, if Hyde takes this job, he's going to be the one that ends up being that true RB1. So it's just definitely a little bit sketchier here for Damien Williams. His volume score goes from that robust 23 or so under Andy Reid to take a nice 6-7 point drop because we don't know exactly how this is going to be distributed. The way I'm going to approach this situation is just drafting both guys because Damien Williams is already a screaming value, and now I rank him more alongside the ECR. I think I'm still about 10 points higher, around my 35, 36 range, the end of the third round, because the upside is so humongous. Again, the number 2 back behind Gurley in points per game when he was the actual starter. So the upside is untouchable, and again, it's part of the system too, so that means I need to get Hyde as well. So if it costs me a 3rd and 8th round pick, I'm locking up this entire backfield, making sure I know, giving my best shot at getting the lead back in the Kansas City offense. It's going to be an RB1 because of how explosive everything is, and if it only costs you a 3rd and 8th round pick to secure that, all the better. The only way that kind of just falls flat and explodes all over your face is if it becomes a disgusting committee and you can't trust one guy week in and week out, but that's never been the case under Andy Reid. I don't know if he's going to just suddenly change his philosophy now. So I think one of these two, Hyde or Williams, will be a true RB1 and true workhorse in this explosive scheme. And the way I'm approaching it now is draft both guys, make sure you secure the entire backfield.